when you're like, I'd rather live free, well, none of us are free. There's somebody that has power over us. And I think he was missing his point on slavery, but we still are slaves within inside a system.
No, I
No,
choose to live in this system.
you choose to live in the system.
Yeah, I didn't choose to be born, but if I wanted to, I could move. I've done it before. If I wanted to, I could reorganize my life. I've done it before. There's no caste system. There's no slavery. Rights have been expanded equally. We don't do the greatest job of it, but yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
do live freely.
So you can move wherever you want.
Pretty much, unless
What?
there's a country that like bans immigration from the United States, I
Where are you
suppose.
gonna? I know where are you gonna move though. Just name somewhere.
I don't want to move. I did move
I know. I'm just
like four
asking
years
you.
ago to where I wanted to, so I did these things.
Yeah, I'm just asking you though. Like, what other country would you move to?
I don't want to, but if I was going to move to a country, I'd
Yeah.
probably move to the UK, I guess.
Yeah. So you're freely to leave, right? How are you gonna leave
Yeah.
without a passport given
What?
to you that's controlled? So you are controlled. You can't just leave unless you do it
Yes, I can.
illegally
All I have to do is get a passport, and I can get a
by the
passport.
government.
If I wasn't so like in China because they had the or like in Palestine, they can't sorry, in stop. In parts of Israel, the Palestinians aren't allowed to leave. The government won't let them. Or like in China, because of the one child policy, a lot of children were abandoned. And
Yeah.
so they don't have like birth records or anything, and the government
Yeah.
won't give them any, so they can't get jobs or do anything. I can do all of those
Yeah. You
things.
know, there's
You
multiple.
seem to confuse the fact that
No, no, no.
you have to
I'm
do things before you do things with not being able to do
no. You're.
things. It doesn't really make
I'm
any
about to
sense.
explain to you. So, uh,
What?
maybe like you live in a life where you can get a passport. I have a passport myself, so like good. If you have a passport, all right, that's perfect. You know, there's thousands and millions of Americans that can't get passports. Would you say they're slaves?
No. Okay.
No.
There's a very important distinction
Mm,
that we don't really have to like cover this, but this is
mm-hmm.
part of the background here because there's like an incongruity here. There are things that I probably can't do, like buy a nuclear warhead, but there are still an infinite number of things I can do, right? So my
Like what?
freedoms are actually not limited by that,
Like
or
what?
in a real sense.
Like, do you realize like you're not like free right now? If you don't pay your taxes, they're gonna take your home. They're gonna throw you in
So if I pay
jail.
my taxes, then I will be free. Then I'm
Yes.
free.
Yes. So you're
What are you talking?
obeying.
Are you like one of these people? Are
Look,
you like
look.
one of these
No,
libertarians that thinks the
no,
federal
absolutely.
government shouldn't even exist and
Well, you're
living
not
on Walden's
free. They
Pond is
have
the
power.
only
They
idea
have
of
power
living
over you.
freely?
They have
I'm sorry.
power over you. They have power over you, and if you don't do that, they can throw you into a federal prison if you do not pay your taxes.
Yeah, so if I
So
pay
you're
my
not
taxes, then
free.
I'm free.
You're free because you're obeying to a government. So were slaves free because they were obeying by the slave owners? Well, I'm asking you.
What? This is so
No,
like
no.
unsophisticated.
Look.
A
Let's break it
slave to
down
the
for you.
government. Yeah, I
Look,
I I welcome the system that I live in. I drive. What roads do you drive on? I drive on public roads. What about you?
yeah, I drive on public roads.
Okay, do you get mail delivered to your house?
Yes, I do.
Okay, is there water? Like, do you have running
Oh,
water?
absolutely, absolutely,
Oh, okay. Did you go to a public school?
absolutely.
Okay, well, geez, this slavery system we live in really sucks, doesn't it?
I mean, do you know what a slave is?
You don't
I
unless
don't know. All right,
unless
tell
a
me what a slave
slave
is. Tell me
unless a
what's the
slave is
definition
somebody
of a
who lives
slave?
by themselves in the woods, or sorry, unless the only person who isn't a slave is somebody who lives in the woods by themselves. I think you think everybody else is a slave.
Yeah. So, like, let's draw the line real quick because
Is
your
that a
logic
yes or a
got
no?
no. So I'll tell
Okay,
you why.
can you just please tell me?
Yes,
Give me an example of somebody who's not a slave.
not a slave.
Yes.
Absolutely, do whatever they want without any consequences.
Give me an example of somebody who can do that.
Nobody. We're all
Okay.
slaves.
Is it good that nobody is allowed to do whatever they want with, did you say with no consequences?
Yeah, with no consequences
Why would consequences,
because
if I
someone would
if
have
I
to
shoot
own
somebody
you at that
and
point.
I have consequences, how is that what?
Someone would have to have power over you, and then at that point, you would be a slave.
Okay,
You would not
so
be free.
I'm confused as to whether or not you think that the freedom to not be able to do anything and not have consequences, the fact that that doesn't exist is
Wait,
bad?
no. So when we come into this, like, first of all, it's like retract because you dodged my question in the like first place, and you just laugh because like it kind of went sideways. So you say you obey by the system. That's why you're free.
I obey by the system. That's why I'm free. No,
Yes,
I am glad to participate in the system
system.
because I regard myself as free.
Okay,
Like,
so
what about people who want to punish people who commit crimes?
well,
Then they have to be free to do that
do you
too.
realize slaves said the exact same thing that
What?
because they obeyed by something, they got housing. Like he was They got housing and everything. So were they slaves then if they were
Yes.
obeying and wanting to be part of
Yeah,
that system?
they were owned and they didn't have freedom of mobility. They didn't get to choose what they were doing.
Uh,
Are you
just
groaning?
just like now,
No, not just like now.
people are put on house arrest.
Have you ever moved? That happens when people commit crimes.
Rhymes. Like what crimes? Do you know there's like very simple stuff you can do that doesn't affect anyone else that you get put on house arrest for?
Give one example. I know the guy that held, I don't know which oil company it was, but he won that lawsuit in South America and he was put on house arrest for years, and I think that's
Oh,
atrocious.
easy drug crimes will put you on house arrest in certain states.
Okay, yeah, I agree. The war on drugs is stupid.
Okay, we can agree on that. So would you say they're slaves?
No.
No, why not?
They have
They
again,
have the
just
oh,
because you're not allowed to do one thing doesn't mean that there still aren't basically an infinite number of things you can freely do.
you can do quote unquote freely. You're not free because there's someone overpower of you. Like read the
I'm
definition of
still
free
confused
for me.
as to
There's
whether or not you
free.
think do you think our system is good or bad because people when they murder people there are consequences.
Oh,
It really seems like you're
like you're
arguing
saying.
against the fact that we have consequences for murder.
All right, so like when we go
No,
into
just
our
dude, seriously,
system, you're
yes or
talking
no.
about
Do you
America.
think it's
In
bad that we have a
America,
system where
in
people who
America,
murder other people have consequences for
in
those
America,
actions?
it's the best system, but still
Okay.
slaves.
Okay, well, I don't agree. But whatever.
I mean, you don't have to agree, but when we come
I
into
know I
this,
don't. I'm free not to.
yeah, well, you're free thinking. You're free thinking, but
Yeah. Well, I don't believe in free will actually,
yeah, you
so
couldn't
there's
just
that.
like go outside and yell like fire in a grocery store like that. That's a crime. That's against. I would say your free speech. Why can't you just yell out fire? Maybe that's a word you like, right? Why are you
What is the
censored?
purpose of having rights?
What is the purpose of having rights?
Yes.
I mean, they're
What is
just
the purpose
protect.
of a
I mean,
government setting up rights? It's to maximize the potential of the members within the society, right?
and who
So
protects
if
those rights?
everybody did whatever they wanted, then it's pretty obvious that people in power could tyrannize people who have less power.
And who protects those rights?
Who protect the I guess the government?
Yeah, and can't the
And
government
we
just
do
stop
have the
protecting them?
best system according to you.
Oh, the best system I would say in the world. Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
yeah, I would say we have the best system, but we're still slaves, though. You
Okay,
can
I just don't
disagree.
agree.
You're a very free thinking individual. You can do that. All right.
What?
Catch you later, man.
Sounds good.